Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes. It's that time again. It's 10:30. It's Wednesday the 15th. So Wednesday, 15th of January. I forgot it was January for a second then. Wow. And we're all talking fantasy Premier League football this morning, aren't we, as always? And we have mid-week fixtures. Yes, we do. Shocked a few people. I saw a few comments on some socials and also on Reddit as well. People were surprised. Midweek fixtures. How can you be shocked? You guys clearly haven't been watching my podcasts, have you? My videos, and it's all over social media saying, "Don't forget to get your teams in." At 6 o'clock yesterday, a lot of people didn't do that, didn't play around with their teams, didn't change the captains. So fool you. That's what I say. Well, there you go. But I did change my team around a little bit, and I did prep my team before the 6 o'clock deadline. And obviously, we had a first set of fixtures yesterday. So without further ado, we'll go straight in, have a quick look at what's going on. I'll let you guys know about the socials as I am preparing to share my screen. As always, I'm on all the socials. I'm on Facebook, AJP85-channel. Forgot that for a second. AJP85-channel. I'm on X, AJ1985P. I'm on Twitch, A_J_P_8_8_5. And I'm on YouTube, AJ Hardy85, which is where all of the videos go after I have streamed them. Like, subscribe, and follow if you guys would. Leave some comments, of course, as well, and DMs. That'll be awesome, and we can be special friends. You know how it works, people. So yes, midweek fixtures. We had a Tuesday set of fixtures, didn't we, yesterday? A couple of decent games, actually. Goals in every single game, no clean sheets. So if you've got any players from any of those 8 teams playing yesterday, you got no clean sheet points, unfortunately. No, you didn't, but plenty of goals going on. So match number 1, I had in the background, didn't have it as the main game because I did call Forest versus Liverpool as being the game of yesterday. Technically speaking, it probably wasn't because it ended at 1-1, although it was a really good game in general, and Forest were really, really good. The games in terms of goals as every other game apart from Forest versus Liverpool, apparently. So Brentford scored 2 and Manchester City scored 2 in a 2-2 draw. Shock result, in my opinion, that one. I know City haven't been good recently, so therefore it wasn't a shock if you think about form. But the mere fact that they were 2-0 up, weren't they? Foden got both those goals. Haaland didn't get anything. So I expected him to be in on the score sheet yesterday. I really did. Savinho, once again, assisting, should I say, getting some points on the board, Savinho. So maybe one to watch. Foden doing well. He's done well in the last few game weeks as well. Is it a purple patch again for him? Because he does seem to have that during the season, doesn't he? So 2 goals Foden. Another performance from Kevin De Bruyne as well. He's back and he's doing well, isn't he? 2 assists in the last 2 games, I think it is, for Kevin De Bruyne. Savinho's done well and Foden did well as well. So those 2 goals of Foden got them 2 up, and that's where it shocked me a little bit because I thought maybe they concede and hold on. Maybe they even get a 2-0 win. Norgard, though, and Wisa first scoring, then Norgard scoring towards the end of the game. Shocked Man City. Big shock for me in terms of fantasy. Lewis didn't play any minutes. That did shock me. I know he hasn't been good, but Manchester City across the board haven't been good. What I'm hoping for is that's just a one-off. And that he'll be back for the next game because, let's be honest, Man City defensively did not paint themselves in any kind of glory, conceding 2 goals like that and drawing the game when they should really have won it. They really should have won it. So 2-2 draw in the end. Fingers crossed, Lewis back for the next game because if he isn't, I've got a decision to make in terms of defence as well as everything else in that team that are falling apart a little bit. So 2-2 draw. If you've got Visa, which I do, but I benched him. I know fantasy-wise I benched Visa. I know people are saying, what? I honestly thought that maybe Jacob Murphy and Amad Diallo with their form would be better. I know Visa did well in the last match, but this was against Manchester City, and I know Manchester City a bit flappy and a bit weak in defence, shall we say. But I still didn't expect them to score 2 goals, Brentford, maybe 1, and that'll be it really. Possibly even no goals, but 2, and Reece will be on the score. Just a little bit of a negative. I am hoping that either Jacob Murphy now doesn't recover from his injury, but I think he will, or that he doesn't really play for Newcastle and they don't risk him. But I think, again, if he's fit and available, he's playing today for Newcastle United. And that's the only real one. Apart from Isak, again, I think Isak will play. If he doesn't, again, I'll get Visa's points off the bench. But, in all honesty, I prefer Jacob Murphy not to play than Visa because I know that Isak will do well, whereas Jacob Murphy does well, really well recently, but it's been the odd assist here and there, maybe the odd goal if we're really lucky as owners. So Wisa did well yesterday. He Didn't get any bonus points. They went to Foden, De Bruyne, and Norgard. So it's pure 6-pointer from Risa off the bench. 2-2 draw. Brentford City surprised me a little bit, if I'm honest. And then the other game, which again surprised me a tiny bit, but maybe not. Palmer getting a goal. Jackson getting finally some points. Only an assist and a yellow card, annoyingly, but still points on the board. I'll take that for him. Palmer with his game week goal as usual. He always has one every week, pretty much, doesn't he? Brilliant player. Should have brought him in sooner. Still have him in my team. Had him for a few weeks now. He's done really well and expensive now, top end of the 11 millions or the 11 million mark, but nonetheless returning, and that's the most important thing from a player. Kluivert and Semenyo, I did say, I called those two out as being the danger men for Bournemouth. I was looking at Hill, the Bournemouth 3.9 million defender. I need to keep an eye on him because he went off injured for Kluivert, so hopefully not a serious injury, because he was on my radar as a 3.9 enabler alongside Greaves at Ipswich. So 2-2 draw. If you've got James and Palmer, which no one has James, but let's be honest, if you've got Palmer and Jackson, you held on to him and you got a couple of points on that. If you've got Semenyo still, well done, because he got a goal and an assist, and he punished a lot of people on Reddit and across socials, punished them for selling him, because people have been getting fed up with Semenyo not doing well the past few weeks. But there you go. That's what happens in it. I did it with Risa. I held on to Risa, and he got me some points last week. I held on to him again this week, though I didn't start him. And again, he's got some points this week. So it just goes to show ebbs and flows, isn't it, a little bit, these points. 2-2 in the end, that one. Again, no clean sheets in either of those two games so far. West Ham versus Fulham. I put Lucas Fabianski on the bench. I didn't start him. I was toying between him and Raya. In the end, it was the right decision, assuming that Arsenal don't heavily concede against Spurs at home. But initially, I was thinking it was the wrong decision, because Fabianski and West Ham went 2-0 up, didn't they? 2-0. And I thought, oh my God. And he'd been saving a few shots and it looked like they were fairly sturdy. And then Iwobi scored 2. And I thought, thank God for that. Because the 2 goals from Iwobi wiped out the Fabianski clean sheet. And the reason I said, I know what you're thinking, why would you even consider Fabianski when you've got Raya and that kind of thing? The reason is because in the past, I've put Fabianski on the bench when Raya's got conceded and Fabianski had clean sheets. And then when I swapped it over 1 week and put Fabianski in the team and Raya on the bench, Raya got a clean sheet and Fabianski went and conceded, didn't he? So it's always, whatever decision I make is always the wrong one, and that's across the board. Visa on the bench this week for Murphy. You could say technically form-wise I should have started Visa. I had him in the team until about 5 minutes before the deadline, because I was considering back and forth. Do I start him? Do I not start him? Will he do well against Man City? Will he not? So yeah, ended up benching him because I thought that maybe Murphy against Wolverhampton was a slightly better fixture for Murphy to do well, despite the fact that he's injured. Injured, he's 75% chance of starting. So 3-2 that game. So if you've got Paquetá, possibly not. Soucek, maybe if you have got him. Most likely no one's got Soler. Wan-Bissaka possibly when he moved over to West Ham from United. Maybe you brought him in as a cheap defender. But everyone else won't have Ings or Fabianski, maybe, if you've got him. Unfortunately, you haven't got many points from that game. He didn't even reach a 3-saver, so he won't get a point for the 3 saves. Iwobi, a few people did bring in Iwobi back when. I don't know if they got rid since. So if you'd kept him, well done, hung on to him, because you got 2 goals in this game and 3 bonus points. Robinson's a popular pick, isn't he? Anthony Robinson, really good player for Fulham. 2 assists in that game, getting him a bonus point, and Carlos Soler got the other 2 bonus points. So West Ham's at 3-2 in that game. Again, no clean sheets if you've got any defenders from either side. And Castagna got a yellow as well, because I've been looking at Castagna, and Raul got a yellow, a player I was sort of considering also forward-wise. And then the final game of yesterday's set of fixtures was Forest versus Liverpool. I did watch the whole game. Really interesting game, actually. Kind of how I expected it to go. But I did expect Liverpool to win, and in the end, they probably should have done, to be honest with you. The chances they had. Wood, though, wow. The guy doesn't stop scoring, does he? The problem is I'll bring him in, and he will, because he's very, very, very much on my radar, right at the top. I had Nico Williams briefly as well in the team. I say in the team, I actually had him on the bench. He will come into my team because of Lewis not playing for Manchester City yesterday, so I immediately get my substitute from the bench. The bench is Nico Williams, who up until Diego Jota's goal was going to be 6 points and possibly even maybe more, but probably not because of Wood scoring. There's a slim chance there might have been a point in that for a clean sheet and a bonus, but you'll never know now. So anyone who had defenders from Forest, Aina being the main one, you probably didn't do as well as you hoped. But maybe you did hope for a draw. Maybe you expected it to be a 1-1. Maybe you expected to lose potentially this game. Forest fans would be elated. Not just Forest fans, though. Fans of the team behind Liverpool who are chasing them. The Arsenal and the guys over at United. Well, basically, the Arsenal and possibly Villa. Everyone else basically is chasing. Forest will obviously be happy with that as well. Because the Liverpool are only, 6 points is now ahead of the rest of the teams with a game in hand, and Arsenal have to play as well. So they'll play catch up to 3 points then. So Wood with the goal yesterday. Really, really, really good goal. Really good goal. To say no more than that, he got the ball on the turn. Remember, this guy's not the fastest player. The pass from Elanga was really good. He's done really well, Elanga, recently for Forest. One on the radar, as is Hudson-Odoi. Wood with a really good finish, smart finish. Deserves a 3 bonus points and the goal. Diego Jota came on and scored. He does that customary thing, doesn't he? He comes on and then just hammers it in. He's that kind of player. Really, really good impact player. Goal yesterday and got an assist. Got a bonus point, should I say. Goal and bonus point. Don't think he got an assist. Simiaskas got the assist. So yeah, he got a goal and he got a bonus point as well yesterday. So 3 for Wood, bonus points, 2 for Elanga, and 1 for Diego Jota. 1-1. Expected Liverpool to win that game. The big disappointment for a lot of Salah captains out there, people who captained Salah, is that he didn't return at all, quite frankly. He had chances yesterday, but once again, I said this in the previous podcast, unless there's a penalty at the moment or real clear cut, Salah doesn't seem to score or look as brilliant as you think he is. He's really good in terms of the fact that he gets a return for fantasy. He's really good in the goals that he scores and his system, his involvement. But it's the involvement and not the goals or that threat that you immediately think when you watch him. He does get shots and goals. He does get away. He does get past his player, but he's not as clinical as I'd like. And that's in the few games that he's obviously not scored and got a return. Those are games in which he's missed chances or he's looked a little bit iffy. And the concern from a captain's perspective is that you are knowing that in the background, Palmer's going to do well for Chelsea, aren't you, really? The game in which you think Haaland's not going to do well, he's getting 2, isn't he, or something like that. Saka, when he's back in March, you'll be looking at him and thinking, oh, he could do well against X, so I need Salah to do well as well. He needs to keep it up even more so now, especially as someone who always captains Salah, ACS. I say this every single game week or every single time we do a podcast as well. Salah is the man to go to. Even next week when they play, I think, Brentford, Liverpool, I'm still looking to captain Salah, irrespective of the other fixtures around me. Tunnel vision, but that's because you know what happens. He'll rip it up one day and he'll get 2 goals and an assist or 3 even potentially. He's got it in him. And that'll be the game in which I go, oh, should I go Palmer captain instead? And I will. So 1-1 in that game as well. No clean sheets. So, yeah, I had a couple of dogs in the fight in this one. Didn't normally have a couple of... I don't tend to like having 2 players or a player from either side against each other, especially if it's a big game where I know there'll be goals in there, but, you don't get a choice, really. So this game week, I hit 21 points thus far. That is the team that I played. Raya will still to play. He's got Spurs tonight. Konate got me 2 because of Wood's goal against Forest. Colwell got me 1. He wasn't good. And it's been a few weeks now where I'm looking to get rid. I'm fortunate in that if Colwell does drop in price, I won't get affected by the drop because he's 4.6 right this second and he'll drop to 4.5 and that's what I paid for Colwell, so I won't lose any pennies on him. Lewis was a bit of a disappointment. I'm hoping he doesn't go down in price and that he plays in the next game for Manchester City. They weren't great 2-2 and I don't see how Lewis would be the reason why they haven't been playing well, so maybe he'll come back into the fold. Nunez was a weird player to play in that fullback position. I'm hoping that doesn't happen and Lewis comes back into the team. Especially with the news about Walker wanting to leave, I thought it made Lewis's position more solid, but I'm hoping it was a one-off rest and that Lewis is back in. Palmer got 10. He was the sort of kicking yourself, but you don't kick yourself because he got 10 points yesterday. He would have got 20 in total. But instead I captained Salah, who got me 2 points, and then the 2 extra for the captaincy. Amad Diallo and Martinelli first and foremost plays tonight against Spurs. I'm hoping he does well because he needs to start justifying his inclusion in my team, as do a lot of the Arsenal players as well. Raya hasn't had a clean sheet for a while neither as well, so Raya and Martinelli need to step up tonight, especially in the North London derby. Southampton for Amad Diallo next. Again, a fixture which a lot of teams have really enjoyed to play against Southampton. Hopefully Amad Diallo feasts in that game because I've got him straight in. He was never in question. Jacob Murphy was in question. He's got Wolverhampton Wanderers. Maybe he plays, maybe he doesn't. I hope he... The thing is, if he does, if he gets 5 or 6 points, then that'll be okay. That'll justify sticking Visa on the bench because Nicholas Jackson, though he hasn't been playing well, got 4, which, it's not 6, but it's a return from a forward who's not been doing well recently. So Jacob Murphy may or may not play today. I think he probably will, based on Howe's comments about the players who were injured. Should be back apparently for the game against Wolves. And then we've got Isak, of course, playing Wolves. Also, I think he'll be good. You think about the striking options at Newcastle, and you think, well, Gordon will have to play up front otherwise. They've lost Harvey Barnes, so Murphy, you think, will hopefully be back straight into the team. So attacking wise, they don't have many players. Gordon, Isak, Murphy, the sort of trio, aren't they, really, in that team? So fingers crossed Almiron's lingering, but again, he looks like he wants to leave Newcastle and probably going to go. So it is those 3 that are the attacking players, and that makes me more confident, rightfully or wrongfully, that Jacob Murphy and Isak will play against Wolves. Fabianski on the bench got 1 yesterday. I expect him to get a lot more than that, probably even 2. Maybe even some save points to make it 3. And that would have made me a bit tense for the game from Arsenal versus Spurs, because I get a feeling that's not going to be a 0-0 somehow or a clean sheet for Arsenal. And then Raya concedes, you get 2, and then you think, oh God, is he going to get 3 saves? Is he going to stick on 2? So 1 point for Fabianski yesterday. Wisa was a slight worry a little bit in that he did well again, 6 points. So I'm hoping Jacob Murphy, if he does play today, does well against Wolves. Wolves do concede, but they also score in Cunha and Strand Larsen and Aidan Nuri. So we'll see. 6 points for Visa, Newcastle against Wolves tonight. I will get Nico Williams' 2 points because of the sort of non-playing time of Lewis. He didn't play yesterday, did he, for Man City? So Nico Williams' 2 comes straight into the team, and obviously Kwanzaa is benched because of Konate. So that means currently right now, though I've got 21, I'm actually sat on 23 points, 1 behind the average. Not happy about that as it stands. Again, I like to keep an eye on the average. I'm getting closer to where I don't want to be in the 3 millionth rank. All it takes, though, is a couple of good game weeks, and I've changed that round completely. So we are at that point, really, where changes will be made at some stage. So I did make transfers this game week. Nico Williams came in, didn't he, for Dragusin. That was the first change. And then the other change was Konate, who came in for Gomez. The reason that was a good shout is if you look at today's price predictions and changes, Mateta went up to 7.3. He's got 4.3. Maybe we'll see about Mateta. Munoz went up as well. A lot of people jumping on the Crystal Palace bandwagon. Bruno Fernandes went up as well because he's the main creative spark at United. But Amad Diallo, Aina's gone up as well. Makes sense to a degree because he's that good player. Wood has gone up again, and that sort of ruins one of my wild card options and permutations. I had 3 or 4 different ideas of wild cards, so that messes up a tiny bit. Gabriel Jesus has gone down because of his big ACL injury. Powell has gone down because he hasn't been playing much of it. It could be a shout, actually. 4.2 is cheap. I do keep an eye on that sort of area. Madueke's gone down. Not sure why, because he played yesterday, but clearly out of favour with a lot of managers at the moment. O'Brien's gone down to replay. Gomez is the reason why it was important that I brought in Konate yesterday. He has dropped to 4.7. I paid 4.8, so I didn't lose anything on him. Kicking him out of the team and bringing Konate in has meant that I avoided the price drop and losing 0.1. Plus, I always planned on bringing Konate back when he was back from injury. Kelleher's dropped down to 4.1, makes sense because Alisson's well and truly back in goal. Luis Diaz dropped as a bit of a surprise, but yesterday he was a bit off the pace. 7.5 million. He is now Casemiro, doesn't really play for United hardly at all. 0.7. Heaton dropped to 3.9. Again, won't really play for United much because of Bayandi has done quite well for them. Kulusevski's dropped. That's a shocker, that one, a little bit, but on the cards, based on the price predictor, dropped to 6.4. Definitely what I'm looking at. Pedro Porro dropped to 5.4. Minor surprise, but maybe Spurs again, because the Van de Ven and the Romero is out at the moment. It's made it a bit awkward. Bowen's injured still, so he's dropped to 7.3. When he's back, that might be an interesting price. And Strand Larsen, maybe a bit of a surprise, dropped to 5.4. Useful player, 5.4 though. Cheap-ish starting forward, but again, his returns haven't been great at the moment neither. Price predictor for tonight, ladies and gents. We'll have a quick look at this. Sells, the goalkeeper, done really well as for Forest. Even yesterday, though, they conceded, he was saving. He was doing really, really well at the end of the game. When they're out on their feet, they look knackered, the Forest players. He was standing up and actually, technically speaking, kept them in the game, him and Aina, at the end there. So really, really good goalkeeping yesterday, and probably deserves a price increase that he will to 5 tonight. Very likely. Konza, he's been on there for a few days now, hasn't he? Potentially going down tonight. Kadioglu's injured for Brighton, so may or may not go down tonight. Chilwell, apparently he's going to go down tonight. Tomorrow, Onana from Villa, he's been on there for a while. Kovacic played yesterday. Maybe he may well not go down tomorrow. Face, been again on here for a while now, potentially going down tomorrow. Pope is injured, so may or may not go down tomorrow. Winks has been on for a while. Maybe he will go down tomorrow. And Van de Ven, something tells me he might play either this week or next week. He is due to go down as well. And the big talk in the news today is all about Man City not doing particularly well. And Slot doing okay, doing well-ish. Got a result against Forest, difficult game against them. Then obviously Brooks, there was a really poor. It wasn't good. He got red. He should have been red carded yesterday. Let's be honest, it was poor. So yeah, I'm surprised it was not a red card. Maybe there might be retrospective. I don't think maybe retrospective action would be harsh if that's the case. Then lots of talk today about what's going on with all the teams and how that's going to affect your fantasy team. The big things are what's going to go on at Chelsea with Nkunku and Tej might be swapping over with Bayern Munich's young forward. Walker leaving, does that mean that Lewis now would have said he was definite sort of shoehorning for the right side, but because he didn't play yesterday against Brentford, Lewis right back, who knows what's going on the right side of the defence. Arsenal looking for a forward that could affect things because obviously Gabriel Jesus is out with an ACL now, so it could well be that they're looking at Vlahovic, also looking at Sesko over at Leipzig. So maybe one of those strikers comes in. Also being offered apparently Kingsley Coman from Bayern Munich for the wing side of things. I think he'd be a decent player, but it depends how much they'll be asking for. I think Bayern would be looking for a decent amount of money for Kingsley Coman. So not sure. Quite frankly, in my opinion, the front of Arsenal should be now Havertz. It should be Raheem Sterling, though a lot of people think that's controversial. And then Martinelli over on the left-hand side. And then sort of in that attacking advanced role should be Odegaard. And then you've got your two defensive midfielders, likely in Rice. And then either Partey or Merino in that sort of holding back to midfield, that defensive midfield side of things with 4 at the back. So it's sort of 4-2-3-1 formation, which they kind of play now with Havertz being a bit fluid. But again, a lot of people say, why play Sterling? He's not very good. Well, the answer you play Sterling for is that right-hand side, and Arsenal's team in general needs a little bit more pace. I know Martinelli's got a bit of pace on the left, but he needs that right side as well, coverage. We had, obviously, Saka flying down there. Even Nwenyi was doing really well when he came in but got injured. So maybe Sterling coming back might be a bit of a blessing because he was injured for a brief period of time. Sticking him over on the right and giving him game time, just give him a chance to go. Even if he doesn't play well, give him that 60 minutes, 70 minutes, give him the confidence, and then bring on a Trossard and swap over Martinelli and Trossard to left and right side. But yeah, I think Sterling deserves a chance. I really do. Why bring him on loan if you're not going to play him, especially now Saka's out? It's I wouldn't say it's like for like, but pace wise, Sterling's got it. Kolo Muani as well as another player I've failed to mention. Also looking at the news there, the papers news, maybe, but I think he's going to Juventus. That's why I didn't mention him, because I think that's I read somewhere it was a done deal or he's on the way to Juventus. So that is currently right now my team. I've got 21, you could argue 23 if you factor in my Nico Williams immediate obvious substitute. It's going to be automatic, isn't it? So 23 as it stands I have with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players still to play. If not, 4 players and 6 off the bench with Visa. So that's assuming Jacob Murphy doesn't play, because I think Martinelli, Amad Diallo and Isak will play. It's a question of Jacob Murphy, and I think he will as well. So I'll have 5 players left. As always, guys, let me know how your teams are getting on. Let me know what points you've got this game week. It's been a bit of a disappointing one for me so far. Should have gone with the grain and maybe captain Palmer this week and not gone obvious, but I've been of that mindset, always captain Salah, and did so. So let me know how many points you've got. I'm assuming a lot of you might have beaten 21 or even 24, which is the average, and my point score, I'm on 23, technically speaking. So let me know how you guys are getting on, and let me know about your teams, what your thoughts are. Don't forget, very, very soon, not this game week, but in a couple of game weeks' time, we'll get the assistant manager chip. Are you guys keeping 0.5 million or more for a manager to bring into your team as well? What's your plans? What's your intentions? How are you going to use your chips as well? I've got all of mine available still, as you will see up here. Still have my free hit available. Got my wild card available there as well. There you go, manager one. So I've got all my chips still to go. Wild card is getting very tempting. I'm holding off for now, but as all these players' prices increases, it's making it more difficult to sort of hold those knees. And I really want to sort of the actual wild card in at some point. So, and maybe improve the team, or I say improve the team, bring in as many players as possible that I think could do a job. We will see, especially Man City. I think Foden is on my hit list for a while. He has been, so I'll keep an eye on Foden, and he might be the next transfer in. Who knows? But otherwise, ladies and gents, as always, thank you so much for watching. Join me again on Friday. I'll be doing a live stream at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. in the morning. It's a bit earlier than usual. Join me on Friday, 10 o'clock in the morning. And as always, thank you for watching. You guys are awesome. Thanks for the views, and I'll see you super people on Friday. Don't forget to check out the video on YouTube if you're not seeing it live. I'll stick up the post on X so you guys can see that it's been streamed and we're good to go. But I hope you're having a good game week 21. It's only been 1 set of fixtures, 4 so far. We've got more tonight. Don't forget big games as well. The London Derby, don't forget, Arsenal versus Spurs. Obviously, we'll have eyes on that game this evening. But otherwise, I will see wonderful people on Friday. We'll discuss the final results from tonight and from tomorrow, because there's 2 sets of fixtures still to go, 2 games, 2 days left of the game weeks left to go. And we'll discuss it on Friday and see where we're at in terms of points. Fingers crossed I've beaten the average, because that is always my weekly plan, and then doing really well in general in terms of the rank. But I'll see you wonderful people on Friday. Thanks again for watching. See you at 10 o'clock on Friday. Take care of yourselves. I've been